I love this music. This is for our podcast people. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Michael Kachmar, and this is Lifeguards Off Duty with Dr. Michael Kachmar. Today's date is December. What's today's date, guys? 21st December, our year of our Lord, 2021. And we have a guest today. We'll introduce him in a minute, but we have our regular off-duty lifeguards here. We have Sean.
Howdy.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
Good evening.
We have Tyler.
I brought something to show you guys today.
Oh,
this is a
boy.
gift from Jesse Brown.
Oh, what
Sergeant
is it?
Brown. This
Let's take a
is
look.
look at this, guys.
Oh, wow.
This is a whistle made from the antler of a lanai deer on Hawaii.
Does it work?
Wow.
Not too close to
Yeah.
the mic.
Yeah, watch out. Don't.
It worked. I swear to God, it works. I swear to God. Hold on.
There you go. That's
It's
great.
actually pretty loud. And then they gave him I think his cousin got him for this.
Let me see that.
This from Hawaii.
Excuse me.
And he has also another whistle that you kind of like hold up to your mouth, like it's almost like a pistol that you blow into. And they also gave him a pipe.
That's sick.
Wow.
For
Wow.
tobacco smoking, all
Wow.
made out of
Wow.
antlers.
Wow. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, from the lanai deer
cool.
on Hawaii.
Wow.
But Jesse donated this to the studio, so this is
Okay.
going to be my new hanging
Good.
whistle. Actually,
Great.
Yeah.
We got to get Jesse on here.
Should I
Jesse's one of our great lifeguards. So
start collecting them on this. Just
yeah,
a bunch of whistles.
Weigh that down.
So our guest, Niko, you want to just introduce yourself? You're one of our lifeguards. So
Yeah.
just say who you are, how long you worked on the beach.
Yeah, my name's Niko Devoe. I've been working on the beach for 3 years now, and I'm hoping to come back in the summer for a 4th season.
Yeah.
There you
Hell
go.
yeah.
All right. So
explain the dirt on your face. Let's address this right now.
And the
Oh, you
they
just came
can't,
from
but
work?
the smell of motor
Yeah,
oil.
well, in the wintertime, I'm an auto mechanic, so
Yeah.
I just came from work. So
Good,
I'm pretty
good.
dirty.
My brother does that, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
My brother, yeah. He's been doing it for years and years. So well, welcome. We really appreciate you being here. We really got a lot of stuff to talk about today. We're going to start the show with risk management. We're just going to talk about this. And the reason why we're talking about this, 2 reasons, or even 3. I'm a Coast Guard auxiliary, and I'm doing some more training on risk management. But I want to bring it out to the larger lifeguard community, surfing community, because when we approach these things, especially supervisors on the beach, and you guys who are becoming senior lifeguards, you have to really think about when you intuitively think about a risk. But I want to just break it down a little bit so you understand it a little bit better. And so let's just use the example of this boat. It was a tragedy. A lifeguard died in one of our beaches, and the boat flipped over and hit him and killed him. So we talk about risk management. How do we look at that? And I'm not looking at that specific case, but just generally speaking. So the boat is a risk. Everything's a risk. Life is a risk. Walk a car is a risk, but in itself, it's not a hazard. So let's look at the difference. So you have a risk. Okay. So the risk is the boat. Now, in the boat, where would be the hazard? So next thing is we look at the hazard. And what's the hazard? What would you say? What's the hazard?
I'd say there's several, right? Surf conditions.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's the hazard.
But
Surf
also
condition.
the hazard could be in the operator of the boat.
No, we'll stop there. Well, yeah. That's good. I mean,
Right?
yeah. I mean, hazard, but hazards usually that's more of a I mean, that gets more to planning, but yeah. So the hazard is if you have somebody's incompetent, right, or not well trained. So you got to look at the hazard. So that's a good one. So hazard is the ocean, maybe not well trained, and you could think about but right off the bat you hit the right thing. It's a what else? Any other hazard you could think about?
Condition of the equipment or the boat itself, but those are controllable hazards.
Well,
as is the issue of the operator.
But it's not a risk though. It's thinking about it's the hazard. So the hazard is a big ocean as opposed to a small ocean. So things that change. Maybe the boat, more like the boat if it's not well maintained, or the boat's broken or there's a metal shard, something wrong like that. So that's what you call the what do you call it? The hazard. The next thing is the mishap. So, so what's the mishap? Let's see, you've been pretty good. So what would be in the boat scenario, where somebody, who got hurt. What was the mishap? What's the mishap?
The mishap being like that, like the user error, like
Mm-hmm.
me not keeping.
No,
my,
not the no, not well. The mishap was the injury. The mishap was the boat flipping. Excuse me. The mishap.
So the mishap would be an oar left in the water when it shouldn't be.
No, the mishap would be the oar hits the other lifeguard, or the boat flipping. That's the mishap is the boat flipping. Okay, so the boat flips. That's the mishap. All right. So now you have the hazard, and then you have the mishap. Okay, so two different things. And then what's the last thing we talk about? What's the consequence? What would be the consequence?
Death.
The injury.
Yeah.
So think about that scenario. So what you had there, if you look at the risk management, so going forward, so
the 3 parts of risk management are hazard, mishap, and consequence.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
How do you know that, Sean?
The whiteboard. Tyler.
The whiteboard.
right behind you.
So just want to, I don't like to beat that up, but when you guys look at stuff in lifeguarding, that's what you need to look. You need to evaluate the hazard. You need to, and that's broad. And then you need to look at the, and when you're going forward after something happened, what was the mishap? What could be the mishap? And then what could be the consequence? There's another thing up there that, can you see it up there? It says PEACE.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an acronym. So what PEACE stands for is planning. All right. E is event complexity. And then you have A is assets, C is communication and supervision, and E is environment. So these are controls. So in other words, when you talk about these things, and this gets confusing, but I'm not going to beat this up. I don't want to spend an hour here. But so when you talked about your assets, we talked about the how well trained these kids are, or so that's your assets, but planning, okay, you're going to go out there, you're going to row, you're going to go here, you're going to go there, you're going to come in through the run, you're going to go out through the run. You understand? Planning. So that has a lot to do with it. The complexity, is there people in the water? What's going on? How complex is the environment? Your assets, again, how well trained, you're going to say, listen, how about we send Kachmar out with the rookie? Do your assets. Communication, supervision, that goes without saying. We do all that stuff, and then of course the environment. That was your as your ocean. So I think though it's really important to remember this stuff, and remember you have the risk, which is a boat or some kind of thing that you're going to be doing, the jet ski, and you want to know what's the hazard. Okay, which is again that's a moving target too. In fact, with planning, always remember that it has a certain shelf life. When you plan something, it could change. Well, we plan like we're going to move the stands, and maybe we don't move the stands. We think about going forward. I know this stuff is hard to comprehend sometimes, but so the hazard, figure out what the hazard is, try to modify it. There's controls. Think about what the mishaps could be, and then the consequences. And so thing like somebody got with the lightning is another way. What's the hazard? When the hazard is lightning storm, right? Mm-hmm. What's the mishap? A lightning bolt coming down. Yeah. and what's the consequence? Death. So these are, and so you could sit there and think now, okay, because you, Tyler, next year you may be a supervisor. You're gonna, I would hope, and so all of you guys, as you stay there long enough,
to be your guys' boss. Is that what
yeah?
you're
But no, but now let's just say you're up at the headquarters. Now you're running the headquarters. Now you got a storm coming. Or we know that there's pop-up storms. 9 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock, we do a briefing. We know that it's going to be storms out there. Mm-hmm. So what's the hazard? The hazard is bad weather. We know it's going to be lightning. They're talking about it in the news, in the weather reports. So how do we minimize that? Well, I can't minimize the hazard is the hazard. Well, we identified it. And the next thing is, how are we going to stop any mishap from happening? So that'd be, and you put your piece going involved in that, your assets, your planning, what you're going to do, how you're going to get the people off the beach, all of those things. And then again, think about what could be the consequence, which is somebody dying. And we don't want that. And even if it gets to that point, you have to plan for that. What do? Have AEDs? Because with lightning bolts, one of the things is to put your heart into arrhythmia. So you need to be ready to go. So those are the things that, so when you go up there, this is all the stuff I'm going to quiz you when you become a supervisor.
I'll be ready.
You'll be ready? Will you be ready?
Yes. Is this like Coast Guard standards?
Yeah, well, this is risk management wherever. I don't know. You're with the fire department. You do the fire
Yes.
department, Nico. Do you
Yep.
guys have anything similar? Like, how do you guys kind of have any discussions on, like, say, I mean, I know when a fire happens, it's really quick, but you
Right.
must have scenarios where, okay, here's what we're going to do. One guy goes this way, one person
Right.
does this way.
Definitely, especially on the water rescue side, we train from April all the way through October,
Mhm.
and every Monday we train and we drill. We do all sorts of scenarios, victim rescues. You switch partners on the jet ski in case you got to switch for whatever reason. We just drill it into our heads, and all different scenarios.
So let me ask you, do you have a situation there where you could challenge? So say it is, say we plan to say, okay, listen, I'm gonna be head. I'm gonna run ride the jet ski. I'm gonna be
Right.
lead on the jet ski, and you're gonna come with me, and
Mhm.
you're gonna be the second. But then when it happens, I say you're not coming with me. I have Andrea. I mean, I have Tyler come with
Right.
me. So that now, will you challenge that? You guys talk about saying, well, why are you changing the plan?
Well, no, we really don't have set drivers for the jet skis, right? So
Okay.
usually it's just something that whoever's in charge will think of. Usually it's the captain, and he'll just say, "All right, you're driving," and
So he
you're on
runs
the
the
back. He runs the show.
Right.
But we all work together. We
Right.
kind of all know whose each other's strengths are,
Right,
and
right.
you know,
So what I'm saying, Tyler, is if you want to even bring it to another level, see, a lot of times we all do this. And I'm not saying it's wrong, but we kind of like wing it. We go, hey, let's go. And, one guy says, okay, you go here, and it's evolving. I think it's sometimes you could be better where you sit down and you talk about this. In the Coast Guard, what we're learning is that you could challenge anybody. So in other words, say there's a plan that's out there, and say I'm driving a boat, and we were going to go through the inlet, say, with a boat at a certain speed, and I start juicing it up, and so Sean, you'll say, hey, Doc, what are you doing? That's not what we talked about. And actually, you're supposed to question him twice. So the point is that you guys do that to me all the time. I mean, I go down and I tell you,
Question you all day.
you question me all day. So, but I was going to tell you only allowed two. That's it. Going forward, you only can question me twice. But so you do have, I'm just saying, if we want to bring it up to next game, this is what the professionals do. And that's what I'm trained to, training is, to really think about the hazard, think about and try to minimize it if you can, or, you can't really change the weather. But then think about the mishap and think about the consequences. And then you go after all of those and try to change everything. I mean, if it's a big ocean, what do? I mean, you got to be, and the big thing you said is assets. You got to make sure that people who are out there know what they're doing. You don't want, and you have to speak up if you're not good enough to do it.
right.
See, that's the thing. That's why I think we should do. That's why I'm all about training. The more we get out on the jet ski, the more we get out on the boat, the more to get out in the water, the better off you are. So, but
Training's definitely a important part of the fire department, because we're always working together during training. So when the real situation happens, we know
Right.
whose strengths are where and where
Right.
they should go. Like, I know the captain, Tim, he's great on the jet ski. So is his son, Nick. They're usually the drivers. They're really good at it.
So you do have planning, but it's not as structured, you think. But you see, it's intuitive.
Yes,
You-
because we
right.
work with each other a lot, and we know who is good at what. And
Mhm.
It
where
also
they
seems
should
like
be.
you guys just want everyone to be good at everything. So if something like a hazard were to happen, you could evolve the situation.
Right,
Well, mishap.
Right, like say Tim
Right.
or Nick weren't there, and they're the good jet ski drivers. We still train the other people that to be able to take over the jet ski in a situation where they wouldn't be there.
Right.
You know what
right.
I mean? So
And you guys,
yeah.
when something does not, I'll say go wrong, but when something didn't go by to the plan, you guys come
Right.
back and do post briefing.
Oh, definitely. We definitely talk about before and after, what we could do next time, what to improve, and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah, and that's important. And I'm not, and I make a joke, but that's why our Sunday night or Saturday night beer and pizza talks are very important, because that's where you hash these things out. I mean, you could have an official meeting. We do that too, but in the morning we do that. We
Remember what you said a couple weeks ago on air, that we're bringing that back.
Yeah, we are.
That I said
Yeah.
I will hold you to that.
Yeah,
is
no, I
kinda
have
holding you to
I have
that.
no problem. But here's the thing with that. You guys got to be, I don't want to hear, I'm tired. I got a date with my girlfriend. You know, and
I'll be
when
there.
yeah,
Can my girlfriend
yeah.
come?
I don't want to sit there with one rookie who is like
Maybe that could be the double date.
Yeah,
our
what's going to
girlfriends are
happen is
talking about this
yeah,
weekend.
but here's what happens. You guys are all fired up right now, and then a Sunday afternoon, I'm like, let's go, and I wind up sitting there with one rookie who I don't even know,
And 6 pizzas.
and there's 6 pizzas, and he can't drink because he's 16 years old or her, and I'm like, die, you know, I got nothing to see. And you guys are all gone. So all right, so it works two ways. You promised me that you guys are going to get all the crew, the beach patrol, and we're going to do this. It takes 2 to tango. I'll be there. Get the pizza. And I can't buy you the
Deal.
beer though.
Yeah,
That's the only thing
deal.
I
You
can't
have
buy
our
any alcohol.
word.
All right.
You have our word.
So
Nico, how
yeah,
long
yeah,
have you
so-
been? How long have you been on the ocean rescue for the fire department?
Back to the
Us-
topic.
yeah, let's just
Since I was 16. When I was 16, I joined the fire department, and
Can you drive the jet ski at 16?
No, at first I wasn't able to drive the jet ski. No.
you weren't allowed.
Yeah, I wasn't able to drive it until just this past summer was my first summer driving.
How old are you now?
I'm 19 now.
Yeah. Well, we talked about that because now there's going to be a question now about what a 16, 17-year-old lifeguard or I can tell you right now, I've talked to people already about the junior fire department people rescue, because you got the
Right.
same scenario.
Mhm.
And if you don't know, explain what's the junior rescue programs. Because they have the same thing like lifeguard, but just explain to us, because I don't think people
Yeah.
know that.
What, with the fire department?
yeah.
So when I was 16, obviously I wasn't a full firefighter. I was a junior firefighter.
Right.
So it's kind of a little different than the junior lifeguards because you actually go to training with the fire department.
Now, just
So-
to be clear, you did both of those. You were also a junior lifeguard.
I was
in
also a
Seaside
junior
Heights, yeah.
lifeguard. Yep.
I think actually there's a bit of a digression, but my first year as a counselor, I think, was your last year as a junior lifeguard.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you might have been my counselor 2 years. I feel like you were,
You think?
or maybe it was
Mm,
one. I'm not sure.
I could be wrong, but
Yeah.
So
Anyway,
you're on
I
the
d-
fire department at 16 or junior involved in the situation.
Yeah, junior. So so the junior firefighters, we train every Tuesday. We can go to the drills. If it was something with, say we were doing extrication drills with the cars, we wouldn't be allowed to use, the jaws of life and the big tools like that. But
Have you since operated the jaws of life,
I,
Nico?
I have multiple times.
Wow.
Not in any real scenarios.
Okay.
Just with training.
I know you've seen some crazy shit that
Yeah.
you've told me about.
Nothing really crazy.
So, but
I
let-
mean, a couple crazy stories.
So before
Yeah.
he gets into that, let me ask you this, Nico, because I want to keep this thought, because it's about the age. So when I mean, thank God, we don't see too many deaths. I mean, the car accidents, if you're seaside, you're not like on a major highway, but you never know. But you can pull these bodies out of the water, and you can see that. What is there any? Would they not have you exposed to that? Like, is there any mechanisms there? With regard to because if you go do a rescue, like, I mean, we have lifeguards on our beach and I've seen we had to go on, pull up the body out of the water or whatever.
Mhm.
Not on anybody drown on our beach, but
Right.
off beach and stuff like that. And the question is, should a 16 or 17-year-old, or even 18 or 20-year-old be exposed to that? Can they handle it mentally? So do they have any mechanism with you, or have they train you for that, to deal with that and give you like how?
Well, if something traumatic does happen, like we have a traumatic call, we talk about it afterwards. And, if something is bothering you in particular, you can always talk to one of the fellow firefighters. I know the captain's always willing to talk, as well as the other firefighters. But I mean, it's definitely possible that you could be exposed to that sort of, stuff as a young kid.
Have you seen anything traumatic while working for the fire department?
We pulled one body out of the water in Seaside Park. It was a guy in a jet ski who, I believe I'm not sure exactly what happened. I think he fell off the jet ski or something, broke his neck. And we searched for him the whole night. We couldn't find him that night. And the next morning, I think like 5, 6 in the morning, we got a call. Someone spotted a body floating in the water.
Wow.
And it was the guy from the day before. So Seaside Park actually they pulled them out of the water, and we just kind of went down when they unloaded him out of the boat, and we just covered him, and then the police took over and everything.
So my I guess my question is, and is that because you're right there.
Right.
Me as a supervisor, right,
Mhm.
going forward, I'm going to be asked and challenged, and should we allow you guys to be exposed to stuff like that, or for that matter, make life and death decisions.
Mhm.
And it's a topic that's it's coming up. It's I mean, USLA are going to have to discuss it and have some kind of direction. But from your perspective, because you're 18, 19, I'm sorry, 19.
Yep.
So what do you think? I think that we need to have young kids. I mean, I've
Right.
seen, I know you, and we have other young kids, 16 years old. They're unbelievable. They do great job. They rise to the occasion. I mean, World War II, you had 18-year-old kids piloting, bombers, and doing sorties over Germany.
Yeah.
Dropping bombs. I mean, so. And dying, so I'm not so sure that, I mean, you definitely can, but what do you think, about mentally? Should you think that it's a 16, 7-year-old? Would you give me any advice as a young person to somebody who's a supervisor? Should I be more cautious with the young people?
I mean, I think it really depends on the person themselves. Because like me particularly, I haven't really been bothered, And
Yeah, you've been really good with it, and you've
Yeah.
had a lot of history with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something that I do, and I just never let it, because you can't let it get to you, because then it's just
No.
always going to eat at you, and you'll never be happy. I mean, it might bother you for a couple of days or something because whatever the circumstances are, but it depends on the person, because maybe this 16, 17-year-old kid, it does affect them.
Right.
So it's hard to gauge because it could be different for everybody.
Yeah. My thing is that it could affect a 30-year-old, but the question is, and again, I don't agree with it one way or the other. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a socialist, but I mean, not a psychiatrist.
We all know you're not a socialist.
I'm not a socialist. I'm a
Kachmar.
capitalist. but I don't know if,
Those
like, I guess
damn
what I'm trying to put out there is that should you be given the ability to work in that environment at a young age?
I definitely think so. I think so, because I was given that opportunity, and I enjoyed that opportunity, and I enjoyed doing it.
So that's important that you say that,
right.
because we're going to have mothers and fathers that will be coming to me,
Mhm.
and they go like, listen, I don't want my son or daughter being out on a rough ocean, or I don't want them out on a boat, or I don't want them involved in an extrication or pulling up doing not a rescue, but a recovery.
Well, maybe then like the parents should be able to have a say in what they want their kid to not be exposed to.
You think parents should have to sign off?
I mean, it would be hard because you can't really sign off on certain things because anything could happen at any moment.
You don't know.
So,
yeah.
So it would be hard to do that.
So real time, you're here. You don't think it affected you. You can handle it. So
Right.
if you think you have the right training,
Mhm.
the right supervision, the right post incident post-mortem evaluation and discussion, that you don't think there's a problem.
I don't believe so. I mean, it wasn't a problem for myself.
Good. That's important, because this is gonna come up for us. And
Right.
I have to. One thing that I do in my life, because I'm a physician, I'm a surgeon. I'm a foot and ankle surgeon. I do surgery in the hospital. I deal with people's lives. I have to deal with their I mean, if I make a mistake, I could cripple them, and also it's our communication. So I always ask people, who I'm dealing with, how does it affect you? And then I try to go forward. That's really great to hear that you felt that you could handle it, that you rose to the occasion, and that the supervisory environment was really good, and that you thought it was a good thing for you. It was a good experience. You grew, and it helped you.
Definitely.
And
Niko is a bit of an outlier, though. He's been saving people since a young age. When did your off-duty rescue, or how old were you when this happened?
I
know what I'm talking about.
I believe I was 14 when that was.
So tell us the story. Tell us the story. I want to hear the story.
It's a little bit of a crazy story.
No, that's what we're here for. We love crazy stories. So go ahead. I want to hear this one.
It was June. I believe June 9th was the date of 2017. And the lifeguards were off duty at this point, but I believe they were on duty that day. And it was big ocean, probably 4 to 6 foot
Groundswell,
Yeah.
June groundswell. That's what. Just so people don't know, in New Jersey we get the June groundswell. So
Yep,
go ahead,
that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, and that could be some nasty stuff, man.
It was rough ocean.
Fat. Yeah.
Yep. So my
and
friend,
cold water too. What was the
it was
temperature of
cold.
water? You got to add that.
I
'cause-
believe it was 56. I want to say.
Ew,
So
oh,
around there, 50s.
Oh man,
Yeah.
because that you got to throw that in because I tell you what,
Yeah.
you jump in. People don't know. You try to swim in 53 to get water.
it's cold.
Didn't you go into like hyperlock or something?
Oh my
time?
God! Once I was swimming. I was going to swim the rope out. I jumped in the water. I was done. I said, "Nah, I ain't going out."
Yeah.
And
That was
people
like-
still clapped.
That was like the year before I started working.
Oh my God.
They were telling me stories
I-
about that. You
it
jumped
was-
in the water and just like
I was
went,
just.
stiff
It
as
was
a
like
board.
50. I'm like, I'm not gonna. It was a rope. I'm like, I ain't doing this. I'm too old for that. Maybe when I was like 22. But again, Nico. So it was cold water.
Luckily, I had a wetsuit on though.
Oh, you were
So
surfing at the time?
Well, I was going to go surfing. My good friend Thomas Picuro, he met up with me at my house,
Right.
and we started walking to the beach. So we got on the boardwalk, and I happened to see this lady run up to a police officer, all frantic and pointing at the ocean. So we looked over to see what she was pointing at, and I mean, clear as day, we saw 3 people in a bit. This run was big. They were out there, and you saw them
Maybe
waving.
like 200 yards, 100 yards. Past the break, way past the break.
Way past the break, and there's 3 of them, and so we actually heard them screaming from the boardwalk.
Was it low tide at all? You don't remember? I know.
I think it was pretty deep. It might have been
Right.
either going into low or coming out of low. I'm not sure.
And this is another. You heard him screaming. That
We heard him from the boardwalk.
I've heard. I've been.
Yep.
I've been in that scenario. And that gets your hair.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah. And
Yeah,
my wetsuit was around my waist at the time, and we had our surfboard in our
Right.
hand, and so I just dropped Tommy and I, we actually looked at each other, and we were like, "Should we go?" And we were both at the same time, just like, "Hell yeah, we're going." At 14.
Nice.
yeah. So Gary,
Yep.
keep going. So I want to hear it. Get
Yeah, so
like
I dropped my board because I have to put my wetsuit on. So
Right.
we're running down the beach. I'm suiting up. Tommy was already suited up, and he had his board with him. So we're running. Just as I get to the water, zip up my suit.
Did you keep your board with you, or you dropped
I
it?
didn't have my board because I wanted to put my suit on. So as I was running down to the water, I was suiting up while I was running.
Oh, but you had a board with you though.
I did originally, but I dropped it. I
Okay.
didn't
Ditched
have
the
it.
board to go save these people.
Yeah.
Well, that's something you
14
probably.
board-
That's you
on
probably won't
14
do.
years old, no training.
Listen.
Okay.
Just before you finish your story, any
Yeah.
junior lifeguards that might be listening to this, do not
Drop
do
your
that.
board. No, take your board.
No.
Yeah, definitely take the
Don't
board.
try to be. If you're 14 years old, don't try to be a hero. And thank you, Nico, for doing that.
So guys, so keep going, but take your board. Right. So one
Yeah,
thing. So
definitely.
there's your.
Tommy was smart. He had his board with him.
Right.
And so since Tom had his board, I told him, I said, "Yo, go for the furthest person out. I'll go to the closer guy." So I swim out to the closer guy, and he's full blown panic, screaming, flailing. I go around him. I wanted to get him from the back so he couldn't push me under.
Right.
That's what I was worried about, was getting
Right.
pushed under.
Right.
Thankfully, there was nothing like that. So I just grabbed him and kind of hugged him with one arm. And he just kept screaming, "Help me, help me, help me." And like I kept trying to calm him down, but he was just too panicked to understand that I was there to help him. And so he had nothing left. And so basically what I had to do is I just was kicking and I was paddling.
How'd you get him in? Did you go out of the run, or did you go?
I don't know how I did this, but
did you guys go onto the bar? You think you drifted onto the
I
bar?
swam
Maybe.
him in the whole way.
Maybe you don't remember if you went on the bar or.
No, I don't think there was a bar. I remember swimming him in all the way to shore.
Yeah,
Just on your back.
Just one arm, paddle with my arm and kick.
Wow.
How'd your buddy get the other guy in?
Actually, what happened with Tom, he said as he got to the guy, he was underwater, and he grabbed him and pulled him onto his board.
Right.
And he had him on the board, and he kind of pushed him in. So after I swam the guy to shore, then he was just dead weight. He couldn't
Right.
stand or
Right.
anything.
How old was this guy, by the way?
Probably mid-20. He was a big guy, though. He was
Okay.
easily between 200, 220 pounds.
Right. How the heck they went in that cold water?
I don't know.
So
and,
that was 3 now. You said. So what about
there
the
was
third
3.
one?
Well, when I got this guy to shore, I couldn't pull him.
Boozed up. That's
yeah,
how.
that's the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't pull him up the beach. So a police officer came down, helped me drag him up. As soon as we got him up to the beach, my adrenaline, like, it all dropped, and I just got so fatigued. Like
Yeah.
it just all hit me at once. But the third guy was still out there. And actually Johnny Cakes was there.
Oh, that's one of the lifeguards for
Yep.
people who don't know.
Yep.
So that's one of
And-
our. He was a lifeguard at that time. Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah, I believe
he's in the Air Force.
He's
I
in the
think,
Air
now.
Force now. Yeah.
So he was what was he doing? Surfing?
He was surfing at the time. Yeah, and he
Okay.
saw what was going on.
So he came down.
He had swam out to the third person while my friend was still bringing in the further guy.
Yeah.
So I just swam out and kind of helped Cake. So he didn't really need my help, but I went out anyway and just helped him bring him in.
Wow.
Well, this is just a great story because Kachmar, this is something you've mentioned about 1,000,000 times already on the show. Is just how important surfers are in those off-duty rescues. when we're not around.
Yeah. Well, a couple things here. I just want to make a couple mentions. So obviously, the error on that. You won't never do that again. Is go out without a board. It would have been a lot better if you had the board, or safer for you.
Yeah.
But that you're 14. I'll give you that. I'll give you
it's
that.
still incredible.
Right. It's still
The
incredible.
crazy thing is too, that was all adrenaline that I was able to pull that guy in because the week after we were in my pool and I wanted to see if I could drag my dad, and my dad was a lot lighter than this guy.
Yeah.
I could barely
Well,
pull my dad in the pool.
but remember, you're in the ocean. You'll float more. It's
Well,
saltier.
there's also the buoyancy
and
to the
wetsuit.
wetsuit.
Right? The wetsuit gives you
Yeah.
a lot of how thick was the wetsuit? Was it
It was a 4.3.
Yeah, so that's going to give you flotation and also the salt. But let me go back with this whole thing here. This is interesting because this is a point I made initially about 16 years old. Here you are 14 years old.
Mhm.
So what you just told me is that a 14-year-old is capable of making a rescue without any supervision.
14-year-old with balls.
But with the talent, I mean, now were you at that time, how many years, or did you do junior lifeguarding at all?
Yeah, I was a junior lifeguard for a long time at that point.
So how long? 3, 4, 5?
Maybe even longer than that. I started
Wow.
in 4th grade. Well, the summer going into 5th grade, and I was a freshman in high school at the time.
Was that
So that's
playing into your approach on that rescue, like what we had taught you?
Yeah, definitely, because I had a little more confidence, knowing that we did the mock rescues and things like that.
Well, I noticed you said you knew to approach him from behind.
From behind, exactly. And I learned that's something I learned from junior lifeguards doing that over the years.
So
Because we go behind, we hand them the can and go behind them. I just skipped the can part and went behind them.
well, but it's when we had Timmy Harmon here, they have a very robust junior lifeguard program, just like us.
Right.
And when we talk about 16-year-old kids, 17-year-old kids, I think one of the themes that I'm understanding now is that you say it depends on who they are. Well, I think we really should try to focus on, number one, picking our young kids, girls and boys, from the junior lifeguard programs, and also make sure we have programs. So if you're a beach that doesn't have a robust program, you should get one. I mean, it pays off in spades. Those 3 people would have been dead. Probably, now I can't say this for sure, but who knows if you didn't have the junior lifeguard program behind you and it built you that confidence. When you sat on the boardwalk and you said to your friend, should we go? It could have easily been no.
Right.
Let somebody else do it.
Tommy was also part of the program.
Tommy
right?
was also a
Yeah.
junior lifeguard. So we were 2 junior lifeguards.
So you had
Tommy was the most confident junior lifeguard I'd ever met.
who is this Tommy? I don't know. Do I know him? Yeah.
No, you don't
No.
know.
Okay.
You don't know.
But see, here's the thing. So, that makes that. So when I answer your question or answer my question, should we have 16-year-olds on the beach and can we give them the responsibility? Yeah, man. If I get, if you, somebody like you, who's had all those years experience, and then on top of that, you made a rescue on your own. And that's some credentials.
I think the junior lifeguard program definitely helped in that situation. And
shout out Steve Van Heist.
Yep.
Shout out Troy Van Heist.
And the crazy part was, after I was bringing the first guy in, that's when the fire whistle went off. So they didn't even get the call until after I brought the first guy in. So by the time the fire department would have got there, they would have been dead.
It would have been
recovery of 3 people.
Right. It wouldn't have been a search and rescue. It would have been a recovery.
Yeah, and there was police on the beach. They're not going to swim out in all of their gear, and because then they would become a victim too.
No, in fact, a lot of the police departments, from what I understand, they have a standing policy. They're not allowed to go in the water.
Right.
Just like with, believe it or not, with Coast Guard, and Marine Police, there's certain, like with Coast Guard, there's only certain people are designated to go in the water, like a rescue swimmer.
Right.
So I don't know about the Marine Police. I was told different. They're going to jump in, but again, you need to be qualified.
I I was involved in an off-duty rescue one time where had the police officer that was responding to the scene not had a loose can in his car, the dude probably would have drowned. But he just so happened to have one in the trunk of his squad car.
Yeah. Well, you know, I was, and I told a story in a real brief, but I had to make an off-beach rescue, and that was maybe about 3-4 years ago in Spring Lake, and I was running the ball. And there's a Coast Guard was out there, or the Marine Police. The people were going out in the run. It was crazy. And our beach was, you know, we had no problems because we had lifeguards, but there was no lifeguards there. Anyway, I saw a guy just saying, you know, waving. I couldn't hear him because it was way out there. And I went down to the beach, and I wasn't going to go out. And there's this surfer coming over, and I'm like, hey, you know, that guy out there needs some, you know, he's in trouble. You go get him. The guy goes, I ain't going after him. So I can I use your board? He goes, sure. And I went, it was real easy. I mean, the board, I got him, he got on the board, you know, he wasn't going under, you know, real, but he couldn't get in, you know, and he was panicking. And I just, you know, got him into where the break was. And then I dumped him off, and he went, you know, on the outside, you know, he went through the break and got in. But, you know, I think we've all done it, but at the tender age of 14, that's pretty impressive. And you had 5 or 6 years of junior lifeguard on your belt.
Right.
That's amazing.
Did you receive any like special type of recognition for that rescue?
Yeah. Thomas and I believe we had 2 awards. We had one, which was the New Jersey Pba Award. And that was a really prestigious award ceremony.
Wow, that's great.
They were honoring, it was, they do it every year. They honor police officers throughout New Jersey. And we got the,
But you're not a police officer. How come you got it then? That's great.
I believe the award was called the juvenile. I don't
Junior.
remember. Yeah, something like
that's
that.
great,
I don't remember
man.
the
That's
technical
really
term.
that's great.
I hate to interrupt you guys, but I just have to read this comment from Nico's mother.
What's she say?
It says, Doc, I actually yelled at Nico when he told me he dropped his board.
I love it. Your mother knows that.
To save the men. I told him to never ever go out without a flotation device.
We love mom.
Thank you, Trisha, for agreeing with me, because this goes back to the point I was making before.
That's great.
You were a brave little boy, but you should not have done that.
So wait,
thank you for doing it. But
all right, so give me the one award was for the PBA,
Right.
Which that's unbelievable. I wonder how many they give out for. I mean, so
yeah, I mean, everyone else there was police officers. We
Wow.
were the only civilians.
Where was this at? Where'd they give this at?
Atlantic City. I don't remember where in Atlantic City.
Now this
but
rescue was in Seaside.
Seaside, yeah.
Okay,
It was
Seaside
it
Heights.
was
So
on the
Atlantic City is
north
like
side.
Atlantic. So that's great. So okay,
Yeah.
so you got that. That's what.
this is just ask your mom if she wants to call in. This is just gonna turn up into us
what is
talking
she
to her through
here?
the comments.
She
Ask
knows
her-
that she knows the right.
You want her to call in?
We would love to talk to you, Trish, if you want to call.
Let
us.
me just
Oh,
tell
God.
her.
You were the only one civilian award.
Well, I don't know if we were the only one ever, but we were the only ones at that
That year.
particular ceremony.
So what was the other? What was the other?
I believe it was the. What was that, Sean?
Life-saving
Benevolent of New York.
Yeah.
They have been around since the 1800s, giving people's award. They only give out awards for water rescues.
Okay.
If you-
specifically.
And
you
they
would've seen
gave you money.
Yeah. No, if you would have seen the
They gave you.
both
if
Tommy
you would've
and
seen the
I.
medals,
I'm not gonna say
if you would have seen the medals that they
Oh,
gave
I'm
out,
getting a phone call.
it looks very
Hang on,
similar
just
to.
I'm going to give you.
Mom.
We'll get her. We'll get her on here. Just give me. Just
Yeah, give us a
I'm
second.
pairing it. Give me
Give
a
me a
minute.
second, Mrs. Devoe.
Okay, so listen. Give him.
Wait. Side note:
Yeah.
the medal. I'll give you Kachmar's
Right,
number.
right, and give it to your mom.
Um,
I don't want to say it over the air.
yeah.
Just tell her call us, and we'll get her on the air.
You want to use my phone?
No,
No, I'm gonna
he's
give
give
you
it to you.
We're gonna
Kachmar's number.
Bluetooth.
Yeah,
into
so
the
wait, let me.
roadcaster.
So why are you doing that? So the
But-
second award,
yeah.
where was that at? Where was that?
That
given
was
at?
in Newark, Port Newark.
And what was the award now?
The New York Life-Saving Benevolent Association.
I don't know that one. We have to.
Now,
dig
you know
that.
what's interesting is
Shit,
because
that's your job. You're gonna find that. For me.
well,
I want to know what that is. For next.
that's very similar to the Massachusetts Humane Society, which is what we discussed in our lifeguard history episode.
Wow.
And what's another interesting thing I found out after doing some further digging into that topic after we did the show on it was that the Massachusetts Humane Society originally was a very similar program. It was just an award and medals program to encourage people to go basically help out other people that were in trouble. Like
Wow.
the first guy that ever got one would like save someone from a frozen lake or something.
Oh, this organization?
Yeah, I have a quote.
Oh, here it is.
I have a quote. If you
Lifesaver.
guys
Pull
would
that
like
back
to
up
hear
again.
it.
Pull that back up. We have it on the screen here. And then we have your mom call in a minute. Let's put that
They don't
back.
really
I
have
want to see it.
they don't have a specific website.
Well, what is it? I just want to hear what it says right there. Records, Lifeguard Benevolent Association of
Here, so you want me?
New
Let me
York.
let me read
Your
this
records.
historical note at the
I
top
want
here,
to show.
Sean.
Yeah, you go.
Well, you gotta pull it back up.
I wanted to show you this medal though, because you talked about how there was the
Yeah, it was called the Medal Awards program.
Sure.
Our audio listeners on podcast can't see this, but
So that's why they got to go there and look at it.
Yeah,
and also subscribe to our YouTube channel, by the way.
there's there's this really sick old medal that they gave out to these people.
It looks silver.
Nico got a cash compensation for
Well,
this.
we also got very nice plaques.
And a
They're
plaque.
redwood plaques. That
Wow.
both Tommy and I got.
Is
that.
it nicer than Kachmar's Lifeguard of the Year plaque?
What, that one over there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's behind you
Yeah,
right
yeah,
here.
yeah.
Right there. Right there.
Hey, Catch.
So,
Put the
But,
camera on me real quick.
yeah,
No.
good.
You know my plaque's bigger than yours. So is Sean's.
Listen, I don't
Oh.
want to. I doubt that your plaque is bigger than mine. Just want to say. So let me.
Shit.
Listen. But let me just get this. So did the three people that you saved?
Right.
Did they come and see you guys? Because
We don't know. We
They
just
they
kind of
weren't-
dropped them off at shore, and we
never found
heard-
out who they were.
No
they never
clue.
nothing. Yeah.
Nope.
Because the one woman that I did CPR on,
Right.
I shocked her 3 times.
Yeah.
They actually came back, and I got an award also, with the town. But it's when you see the people, that actually puts another whole dimension on it. When you see these people and you sit there, and I remember the husband. I tell you, I still get almost get emotional.
Right.
He goes to me. He goes, she is, and what my childhood sweetheart, and you saved her life. And he goes, I owe you everything in the world. I was like, I don't know what to say to the guy. But I'm a doctor, and I've saved people's lives before. I tell you, that's something when you do that. You save those people's lives. And at 14 years old, there's people, think about it. There's people who go through their whole life and never, ever come close to that. You saved at 14 years old. Legitimately, I mean, those people would have been dead. You just said it.
Right. I believe.
And that's an awesome thing. You're going to go right to heaven. I just want to tell you, I know if you believe in God, you're going,
We're proud of you, buddy.
The crazy thing is when Tommy and I got those awards, they gave us a grand each, and
$1,000.
$1,000.
Whoa!
And there was also
That's
another
what I'm saying.
gentleman.
I make one rescue
Whoa,
a week.
we get nothing. Yeah, we get.
I'll just go sit in a lawn chair on the beach in the off season.
So go ahead. You got it.
There was another gentleman there who also was getting an award. He was, I believe, he was a boat captain for a ship. They had a lot of people on the ship. Someone fell overboard in the dock, and he actually jumped in and saved them in between the boat and the. So he could have got
dangerous.
crushed.
Ooh,
Yep.
that's a dangerous one.
But,
Hey, did we want your mom to call in? Does she want to call in? She could call in. Just tell her call that
I
number.
don't know if she needs to call in.
No, all right. So you don't want. Okay. Well, she could call in. We could hear her. We could all talk to her. I have a mute.
Gonna tell her
I have a
back
mute
to-
button. I mean, we have the mute button, but she could call
Back-
in right now if she wants, and we could hear her. I'll accept it, and we'll put it on. So we have the ability.
What were
So-
you saying, Nico?
I was gonna say back to what Kachmar was
Yeah,
saying about how how you felt when the guy told you, you saved his wife's life, and that's I know that exact feeling. 'Cause I rescued a lady, and she told me I was her angel. She said
This is on lifeguarding now on the beach.
No,
this is another
You
one.
want to hear something crazy? When we had the award ceremony,
Right.
I got an extra 1,000 because I had another rescue when I was 15 off duty.
What? This is. I gotta hang on a second. Let's get
That's
this.
another
that's
crazy
as much money
story.
as I made working the beach last summer.
That's another
hang-
crazy story.
Hang on. Let me just get this.
Oh,
Hang on.
God.
I gotta get her here. Hang on 1 second. Hang on. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. This is Dr. Kachmar. Can you see me?
No shit.
Well,
Hey.
I can.
Well, here's your son. So I introduce yourself so the audience knows who you are.
Oh, great.
Who are you? Introduce yourself.
Hi, Trisha Devoe.
Oh, hi. So thank
Hi,
you.
Nico.
Hi.
What
Thanks
is your-
for calling
what is your
in.
relation? What is your relation to Niko Devoe?
I gave birth to him.
Well, you must be really, really proud. I mean,
I am so proud of him.
I don't, but he's like racking it up. He's now he's got another $1,000. I didn't know that you could get this kind of money for this stuff. But at 14 years old. So let me get real. I want to ask you something, Mom, because this is the theme of our show today was about 16-year-old kids and young. What do you think about here? If he wasn't there, people would have been dead. So I guess my question is, you probably will answer it in a positive. What about having young kids, young boys and girls involved in this stuff? Are they ready? Which obviously your son, he is. And what, as a parent, what would you recommend to other parents who their child is maybe 14, 12, wants to go in lifeguarding, wants to do fire department? What would you say to these parents? Because they might be, scared, worried about it. What would you say to them?
Okay, so I think, well, first of all, I want to say that when Niko was telling the story about saving the 3 men, when I first got to the boardwalk and heard what happened, I was furious. I was not happy. I yelled at him. I said, just like you did, why did you drop your board? I said, you could have drowned. But of course, like a typical teenage boy, he had an answer for everything. But, and he said, Mom, the board would have slowed me up in getting to the victim. And I said, but Niko, do you know how many people drown when they go to save someone else? And he said, I thought of that. That's why I didn't go into the front of him. I went around the side so he couldn't pull me under. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like he had an answer for everything. Right.
It
was very, very, I was angry for a while. Now, of course, I'm proud forever to his embarrassment. It's like me talking about it. But I have to say, it's, Niko is right in that like every kid is different. I think this was a very positive experience for Nicholas and for his friend Thomas. I mean, they went from just normal teenage kids to like overnight heroes, so I think it was very positive experience for them. Obviously it had a great outcome. 3 men were saved. At first the boys were downplaying it like it was no big deal. I mean, when I got to the boardwalk and people were running up to me telling me, did you hear what happened with Niko? He saved 3 men. I'm like,
I think that was Cakes that told you that, wasn't that?
I think
Cakes,
and I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, where is he? And they were surfing. They were already surfing, like nothing happened. And
they
didn't
paddled
even
back out. We as soon as we got him, we went surfing.
Yeah. And I explained to them, like, I don't think they even got the magnitude of what they did at first. No. And I said, do you realize that if you guys didn't go out there and take action, instead of it being a happy story, like, teenage boys like become heroes overnight, it would have been tragedy at seaside. It would have been a horrible story. And so I think for them, it was very positive. But as a parent, of course, like I have the same concerns as you're speaking about, Doc, about does this take a mental toll? Or at what age is a kid too young to be exposed to these, life and death situations? I think, honestly, one thing that really helped Nicholas, and I would encourage for any parent whose child wants to be a lifeguard, is to do junior lifeguards. I can't speak highly enough about that program. I think that, definitely helped a lot. It gave him a lot of good skills in going out and doing what he did, and doing it safely. But I think it's just also important. I think to have that emotional support afterwards is very important, and to have an environment where it's safe to talk. Kids don't necessarily talk about feelings. Boys especially don't like talking about feelings. So I think to just encourage like just an environment where if they are exposed to tragic things or even just frightening things, even if it's a positive outcome, it's still very scary what these kids do. So just to have a safe place where everyone can just talk about it and, just kind of express what they were feeling, what they went through. I think that would be very helpful.
Well, that's one of the reasons why we have this show here. Because we bring these things out and hopefully people will listen to this. But I want to ask you this. So after this event, did you see Niko? Did he? I mean, I hate to talk. He's in the third person here. But did you see a different maturity level? Did you see difference? No, he's just still a goofy. Still a goof. Well, yeah. So, no.
That's a great question. I think, he was so young. He was just 14. We had just moved down here full time. And then as he started to tell you, like 2 months later, he did it again. He saved a woman. I don't even know if he got to that story.
No, we're going to hear that one. I'm like, I can't believe this. I want to, and he's getting $1,000 each time. This is like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But did you, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's a very prestigious award he got. He got quite a few prestigious awards. I don't even think he mentioned the United States Army Medal of Heroism, which is the highest medal of honor.
How do you get that? How do you get that?
Because you know how he got that. I
think we're gonna call this episode "The Humble Hero."
How do you get that? I didn't even.
Let Niko tell the story.
Hate that. He does not. He hates. Sorry, Niko, but. You did the podcast, though.
Yeah, it's open game.
Trish, he begged me to come on the podcast. He kept texting me. He said, "When am I going to come on? When am I going to come on?"
I tell you what. To your son's credit,
at least 3 times.
To your son's credit, my colleagues here thought he'd be a really great individual. He didn't tell me why. This is all new to me. I didn't notice. I know about this, and if I knew about, well, they don't. That's what they do because it gives you shock value. But I'm floored right now. I can't believe the things I'm hearing. So tell me about this award now. What's this? What was this Army? Tell me about it.
So it's the Medal of Heroism, which is the civilian equivalent of the Medal of Honor. So if you're in the military, the highest honor you can get is the Medal of Honor for saving someone's life or exceptional act of bravery. But if you're not actually in the military, they have an award. The same level award, but for a civilian, and it's called the Medal of Heroism. And that comes straight from the Pentagon. And Nicholas got that from the Department of Army because.
Why? How'd they know about it?
Because I was in JROTC at the time.
Yeah.
And you never told anyone.
Whoa. Say slow. You were in what now? Niko, say it again. You were in what?
JROTC in high school.
So tell people what that is, because I know what it is, but I don't think other people don't use the acronyms. Tell them, expand on it. What is that?
Well, it's like a military program in high school, and it basically just introduces you to the military in case that's something that. Right.
It's basically junior Army training.
It's like junior firefighter and junior lifeguards.
Wow, and then you get junior Army. I mean, what else?
They have junior everything.
Junior everything. Oh, so that's why. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so that's where that came from. Because he was in that program.
You never told us this.
No, we didn't know any of this.
Talk about it that much.
No, we just do. Yeah,
that's amazing.
No. Well, Mom, I could tell you. This story is.
Sean, what happened to your camera, dude?
I just keep getting farther and farther away from it.
He's just moving.
I'm just more. I keep gravitating towards what Niko and I.
Right. So again, this is amazing. So you at 14, you make your first rescue. You have another rescue.
3 months.
3 months later, and that rescue.
Yes.
And what was that rescue? Your mom, you can stay on, Mom, right? Let's hear the story so you can maybe add to it. So what was this rescue?
I was 15 now. I had just turned 15. And I was just coming home from school. And I wanted to check the waves because I knew that I checked the surf report. It said there was going to be good surfing waves.
Right.
And so I'm checking the waves. I have my book bag on. I'm wearing shorts, t-shirt, sneakers. And I just see these 2 people drifting out, and they're out kind of far. And I was keeping an eye on them because I just didn't think it looked right.
Now so this is that again, what years, what time is it now?
This is 2017 still.
Like when
I think we might
have September.
September.
Catch, you're getting another call.
Yeah, keep going. I got rid of it. Good.
That was September of 2017. I was 15, so it must have been after the 18th, so kind of later in the month.
Okay, go ahead.
September 21st.
There you go.
Wait, say it again. When was it?
21st. So I was only 15 for 3 days.
No, but what month was it of the year?
September.
Oh, September. Okay, so the water was still warm. So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get a feeling.
No worries. And I was checking the waves. I saw these 2 people. It didn't look right. And the one guy actually, he finally got to a sandbar where he could stand, and he started waving for help.
Right.
Because the girl was still out there in the rip. So I just started running down the beach. I threw my backpack off. There was an old man sitting in a chair, just kind of hanging out. So I started taking my shirt off, my shoes off. I think I kept my shorts on. And I told the man, I'm like, hey, there's a lady drowning out there. Call 911. I'm going to get her.
That's now. So that's your training right there. Like what? So a lot of people wouldn't even think that. They're like so panicked. So you have enough wit about you That's impressive. At 15 years old, you have enough wit to say, okay, we talk about, planning. So now you're going to, that's the first thing you do. And, at that point, did you have any training, CPR, and, how to deal? None of that.
No, nothing.
So what made you
just junior lifeguarding?
Junior lifeguard.
That
Call
point, it was
911.
still
Get assets.
Yeah,
Get assets.
I told the guy, I said, call 911, and I let him know I was going in I said, hey,
that's
call
so
911.
important. That's so important
Yep.
what you did there. That's backup. That's
yes,
backup.
I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to be alone out there.
Like when I say, get on the radio and let us know what's going on.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So go ahead. So then go ahead.
And so I had my shorts, and I just started running out to her.
Again, no flotation device.
And I'm wearing clothes
Mom,
this time.
We're gonna get him an automatic inflation device. He could go in his pocket, right? And
it's like I think Mom should get an award for putting up with all this
heroism.
We're gonna have him. So again, we're gonna give him an inflatable on his back. So again, so tell us what happened. You run now. There's no wetsuit, just shorts on.
I'm wearing shorts and
underwear.
Oh
God, okay.
And,
poor mom.
I start running out there, and the guy's screaming. He says, "Help my fiance!" And he wanted to come out with me. As soon as I started running, he followed me.
Oh, that's not good.
I said, no, go to shore. I told him I was a lifeguard. I wasn't a lifeguard at the time, but I said, no, go to shore.
That's all right.
I'm a lifeguard.
Practicing without a license.
Were you one of the ones that would always wear your junior lifeguard gear everywhere?
No, I didn't really, unless I was boogie boarding or something, I'd throw the shirt on.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like stock neck.
Steve's picked some bad colors for you guys.
So go ahead. So you get that going. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I swim out there. She wasn't actually that far out. She was right next to a sandbar, but she was in the rip, and but she was gassed. She was same things before, panicked, out of breath. So I grabbed her, and I was able to stand her up pretty quickly. I didn't really have to.
You weren't that far. It's probably just off the ends of the bar.
So I just kind of swam over a little bit. It wasn't far, right onto the bar, and then walked her in.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fire department came. Well, they didn't come yet. The call just went out. I heard the whistle go. And she actually told me, she said she started at the pier, and she was on Carteret now at this point.
Wow. So so give people, that's about 5-6 blocks.
Yeah, it's a long distance.
So it's probably about I don't want to say half a mile, but pretty close to half a mile.
Yep.
Wow.
It's a mean sweep, dog.
Yeah, it was big surf that day. It was heavy September surf, hurricane season.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Mom, you must be so we're gonna have to work on him though. The only thing I said, like I said, I'm very impressed, but that's twice he went out without a flotation device. We have to. You and I are gonna have to work on that. We're gonna have to buy one for Christmas and like a pocket inflatable device, something you could get, because we can't have you going out.
Well, what
I thought you said, excuse me, but I thought maybe you would have got, like, what I did is, look on the beach for a boogie board, a piece of wood, or we used to, here's what I want to give. We all had keys. Back in the day, we all had keys to the boxes, and on the boxes on the beach is our equipment.
Right.
So we made rescues at night. So I don't want to take the, your glory away, but we had keys. So you could, if the boxes were still on the beach, again, it may not, you could have went and got the, the can. But I think there should be, this is another thing too, they get stolen, but it would be nice if there's like a case or something somewhere, or glass, some, the people are calling for that.
Have fire extinguishers
people are calling for that. Have throw rings around the beach.
That wouldn't be a terrible
idea. I don't know about going on rescues at night, but I've heard stories of my senior guards getting a bit frustrated with the buoy and swimming out there in the middle of the night with a knife and just
they don't like that. So Mom, I just want to tell you, I make these guys swim out the buoys. I do it myself. I don't do anything I don't tell them to do, and it becomes an obsession that they don't like it. So they actually go out there and try to sabotage the buoy. It's just it's about 100 yards out, and I make them swim in and out, and they don't like it. But so anyway, well, we I think it's maybe something we should maybe suggest, write a letter to the town and say, listen, because somebody like you can make a difference, and I think it's not a bad idea. We put him in some kind of case or something. I don't know. We could think about it, but
like a break in an emergency break case. I mean, you might have vandalism or something, but that's actually something that I said to Niko, because this is a couple of years back now. But when these events were happening, yes, I was very freaked out, very afraid for my son's safety, because what we're discussing. And I said to him, our neighbor, Bob Omar, was a lifeguard
Bobby,
I've had like 40 years. And like, I was asking Niko, can you get I call it the can, you know, the bullet, the red can.
Right.
You know,
Ooh,
like,
I like the bullet.
that
I've never
one-
heard that one before.
a bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And Niko, you know, of course, like, Mom, what do you think I'm gonna do? Like, wait, run home, grab the bullet, and go save someone? It doesn't work that way, you know. Like, having it at home is just, you know, he's never home when he's doing the rescues, right? He's on the beach. So I think it makes sense to have something like that there, like in case of an emergency when the lifeguards are off duty.
Well,
Makes a lot of sense.
yeah, there's people calling for that now, and you know, like down in the Caribbean where you don't have a lot of lifeguards, what they do down there, and I was down there for 10 years doing surgery. So I got to know the lifeguards real well. They would have stations, and they would have a sign saying there's no lifeguards, but there was always a throw buoy there with a certain amount of line. So it's actually not just a throw. You know, throw buoy has the line, and so you know, and they were all around the islands, and they thought that was a really good, you know, really good thing to do. So maybe that's something. You know, this story that Niko brings up, that's twice. You know, and I think that if you know, maybe if there was something there, I mean, it still had a good outcome, but it would have helped. You know, so
Definitely.
Right.
yeah,
So
or
it's always
something.
good to have flotation.
Yeah.
You know, I just wanted to say something about that story with the woman. Her name's Lucia. When that day in September when Niko did that rescue, I was actually on the beach and I was walking home because I knew he would be getting off the bus. But I happened to walk up Kearney instead of Carteret. So when I got on the boardwalk, walking now towards Carteret to go home, I see the cops coming on the boardwalk. I'm like, oh my gosh, like what happened? Like what, you know, I knew there was someone in the water, and here comes Niko soaking wet. And he's like, Mom, you did it again. And I was like, no, you didn't. And the next word, this is sorry, Niko, I'm telling him the truth. So, and I said, you can't. And the next words out of his mouth were, and you better not call the news, and you better not like report this to anyone. And I said, Niko, but I saw the woman on the beach. The cops were interviewing her. And I said, can I at least go talk to her? Because I didn't meet the first 3 men that he saved. I never met them.
Right.
So he said, okay, but don't you dare call the news. And he went home. Niko went home. So this gets very emotional for me. But I feel like it's important for people to hear. So when I went onto the beach and I said to the woman, you know, that was my son who went out there. And she said to me, makes me cry every time. She said, your son is an angel sent by God to save me.
Wow.
He was God to save me. And then she told me the story. So it was a little bit more dramatic than the way Niko explained it to you. It's like he said, she did go in at the pier. She said, I'm a good swimmer. So she went swimming.
Yeah. She thought she was a good swimmer. So go ahead.
She didn't expect it. She didn't expect it to be, you know, for the current to pull her.
Right.
And her boyfriend at the time, you know, saw how she was getting dragged and was following her along the shore. And he finally went out to try to save her. And this is what she said to me, which is very, it's just very emotional. She said, he went out to try and save her, but he was not a good swimmer at all. And she said, you know how when a person goes to save someone, but they drown themselves and they both drown? And she said, I knew that was what was going to happen. And so I told him, I pulled my hand away from him and I said, go back and save yourself. Go.
Wow.
Because they were both going to die.
How old was she? How old was she, by the way? How old were they?
She was in her mid-20s.
Okay.
A young woman. And so she said, you go save yourself, because they were both going under. But actually that action that she took did in fact save her life, because him leaving her and getting to the bar, the sandbar, was what enabled Niko to see him waving for help.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure if they were in trouble until he started waving.
Wow.
I just kind of saw them.
They were
was
together.
like, something's off here.
Wow.
So that did actually save her. But then she said, so she pulled her hand away and said, you go save yourself. And then she said, I had nothing left. She said, I couldn't move anymore. I had no strength. And I just prayed to God. And I said, God, please save me. God, please save me. And I looked up and there was your son.
Wow. There you go.
And I was just bawling. And I was like, don't cry. I used to be proud. But the beautiful thing about this story, so the point of that is, you know, if you're not a good swimmer, if you're not trained, don't go to try and save someone, because that often does end in tragedy. But this story had a happy ending. They ended up getting married. And because I met her, I had her phone number, and she actually came to the award ceremony for Niko when he got the Life Saving Benevolent Award. She came to that award ceremony and she gave him like a silver engraved lifeguard whistle.
Wow.
Yeah, that actually, it didn't feel heavy at the time, you know, being 15, but looking at it a couple years later, it feels pretty heavy.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Well, you know, we had
Absolutely.
a kid this summer worked on a beach. Name was Jack, and you know, I told a story a few times, but he made a rescue, and I didn't know he was sitting on the stand. We had shifting over, and I couldn't see the stand, but I got on the radio as a supervisor. I'm like, go. It was Franklin Avenue, and so he went out there. And this lady was, you know, she was in trouble, and he shot out there, and he was a 16-year-old kid. And I told him that day, I said, and I went, everything calmed down. I talked to him a little bit, and I said, what do you think? And he was, you know, like Niko, very humble. And I said, you know, you just saved a woman's life. I don't say that to make you feel bad. I said, that's an amazing, wonderful thing. You saved a person's life. You joined the club. You know, I've saved somebody's life. And that, you know, is
you called me dickwad after my first rescue.
Yeah, but that's because you deserve it. You get, it's like everybody's different. So yeah, but Jack, I mean, I said to him, I said, you know, that lady would have been dead. So you know, there you are, Niko. You saved. And so I get it. No, there's some people go their whole life never did that. There's two people, and then you know going on into your career more and more. That's an amazing thing. That's something why people ask me, why do you do the lifeguarding? And I have a lot of reasons, but one of it is to save somebody's life. That feeling is the most unbelievable, rewarding thing that you could do. And you know, when you know, we're all dead and buried, you know, what did we contribute? You know, like you said, Mom, these two people now are married, they might have children. Who knows what that's going to lead to, you know, in the future. So it's an amazing thing. So you should be very proud. And also, I just trying to analyze everything, you know, where you had the training in high school for the military, that probably brought you to where you are. You had the training with the junior lifeguards. You have the fire department. So all of these things are, and the other thing is just for you to do all of that. You know, you have to be that kind of mentality, not to sit there. How many kids right now are, you know, with the games, you know, doing the video stuff, don't even do any of this. Yeah. And here you are, it all paid off because with that training and that background, you were able to tremendously affect in a positive way people's lives. So that's that. So Mom, I tell you what, I'm like, oof, that's amazing. That was an amazing story. Yeah. My hair is still sticking up in the back of my head. So, you know.
Well, thank you for letting me call. I'm sure Niko's very happy. But I just want to say, you know, I'm very proud of him, of course. I think like all you guys, like some people are just born with that in them, you know, that they're rescuers, you know, it's, you either have it in you or you don't. And Niko definitely has it in him, and you all do too. And I'm just very honored and proud that he gets to work with Seaside Heights Beach Patrol because he has great mentors there. I think all of you guys at the Beach Patrol are just amazing. And I'm very proud to have both Niko and his brother John working for you guys. And so thank you for just all that you do, teaching the kids and, you know, instilling all these great skills in them and attributes and everything. Like you said, helping save a life there's nothing greater than that. So yeah, I'm very proud and thank you for.
It's funny you mentioned Johnny, Trisha. We're telling all these stories about Niko's heroics, and all I'm thinking about is the time I had to run and yell at Johnny for jumping off the catwalk in the pier during swimming hours.
So Mom, I'm gonna just tell you this. All of this that I just learned about him, I just want to let you know he ain't getting no special treatment next summer. He screws up, I'm gonna light him up from one end to the beach to the other. Just want to let you know that, Niko. So don't think.
I don't want to.
Right. You don't want to know. No. Listen, we're glad to have these kids. I'm telling you, you know, and like Rob and I, when we talk about, you know, the kids on the beach, Niko is always, I mean, solid. You know, we don't worry about him as far as, you know, he's going to rise to the occasion and do it. So, because we look and when we do the schedule and we try to evaluate, you know, who we have and what talent we have, you know, he's a real asset to our beach. So we're very proud of him. I'd like to and thank you, Mom. You did a great job with him. I can
Yes,
tell you that
thank
right
you.
now. I'm going to give you
Thank
the award. You need the mother of the year award, because not that you did such a great job, and usually the parents are a big contributing factor to the success
Yeah.
of the children. So that's great.
Yeah, thank you.
No,
Thank
yeah,
you very
thank
much.
you. All right, we're going to sign you off. Okay, so
Okay.
thank
take
you
care.
very
Thank
much.
you.
All right, you
Thank
have
you,
a good
Trish.
evening. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Nico. Love you,
Bye.
baby.
Love you.
Nico,
Yeah.
question.
Eh.
Does it piss you off that Johnny won Rookie of the Year? And you
No,
didn't?
not at all, because there was only one other rookie. I had like 10. So no, it doesn't bother
Who
me.
was the Rookie of the Year? Your Rookie year?
Tomasello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. Dude, you were like the prodigy of the
I've
beach.
been
So,
wanting to do it for
based-
like 6.
That's what I
7
mean. Like
years.
based on all this stuff, I remember us talking about you like coming in, like, oh, this kid's gonna be like
Every
next level
summer I would
lifeguard.
come talk to you, and you'd be like, "When are you working? When are you
Yeah.
working?"
So
I'm like,
Nico,
one more year, two more.
You like, yeah.
so
You always wanted it.
yeah. So what about rescues on the beach? Because I don't remember. So what have you had?
during beach patrol
Yeah.
hours?
So when you're working as lifeguard, any
Oh,
kind
I
of
remember
rescue?
my first rescue with the beach patrol. It was actually a kid and her mom, and I was on, what street was I on? Fremont. I was on Fremont. No, Kearney. I was on Kearney, and I was by myself. I was a rookie because it was during lunchtime. I think I was sitting with JT Murray, and this kid. I couldn't tell if he was getting in trouble. I was still I was a rookie, and I didn't really want to, how it is being a rookie. It's kind of scary. So I stood up and started whistling him in. And then as I'm whistling him in, his mom starts running out in a panic. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go. So I run out, grab the mom. I grabbed the kid first and then grabbed the mom. And then I believe Kyle Day swam out with the rope. And then they pulled us all in. It was a quick, easy rescue. But that was my first rescue with the beach patrol.
What
Shout
about
out
what,
Kyle
Actually,
Day.
wait, that's
Shout
my
out Kyle
second.
Day. Actually, he's watching the stream. He left a comment
Oh, yeah?
earlier about a certain lifeguard's nose that came into contact with my rescue board.
Ooh. So any great, and do you remember any like big rescue? Because I don't remember, but
Well,
did you remember? Can you give us?
Yeah,
ones
I
that was-
remember McKee. You remember it was, when was it? It was in May, like Memorial Day weekend. And what year was it? My rookie year, 2019. You remember this rescue, the 3 people on South End?
I do not.
You don't remember that?
I do not.
Tell us about
We
it.
were doing equipment, and certain
We were in the mule
female was
together?
on the stand and
Key,
didn't
just
go.
pretend you know.
Oh yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about now?
Yeah.
For real?
So
Oh
what?
my God,
Tell the
no.
story.
Okay, no, I remember Memorial Day weekend. Yes, there was
What was it?
I can't tell. I can't
No,
tell
I
if you're
really
still
do.
acting
No, I
or
really
not.
do now because it was freezing, and I
It was
remember. I
freezing. It was
remember
freezing.
how like the man was so thankful for
Catchmar, you were there.
the rescue.
What? Tell us. Fill us in. I don't remember.
It
It's
was
okay.
three
Nico
of
did,
them,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Did you go in the water?
I went in the water, but I didn't do anything because
So-
you grabbed one
grabbed
and Frank grabbed the
Yeah,
other.
it was. I remember. I remember Frank.
Yeah,
So what? Tell me.
and then you started yelling at them when they came to shore. You were like, "Get the cops! These guys are drunk."
Yeah, we're just so people know in the audience, we one of our distinguishing features of Seaside Heights is we'll rescue you, and then you might get arrested.
Well, that's one of the best lines is you get someone out of the water and you look at them and like, you drunk? Or like when you get to them in the water, and you just smell
this
it,
is
like,
this is a warning for
yeah.
anybody who's watching this, who's not a lifeguard, who's thinking about coming to swim the Seaside. If you get liquored up and you go in the water and you don't listen to us and you just get in trouble, we're going to rescue you, and then most likely you're going to get a ticket.
that's a town ordinance.
Yep.
So that's what happened. So they were drunk.
No, this was a really fun rescue. We
So
were
because I don't remember this, but
we were doing equipment. It was me, Nico, and I guess Frank was in the
Frank,
mule with
yep,
us.
yep.
We were just bringing all the equipment in. It was 4:40 or 6:40. Like we were leaving.
We were leaving. We were
Yeah.
getting closed up, right? And they shouldn't have been in the water,
No.
probably. They were probably told not right. So go ahead. So disregard of lifeguard
all we
sergeant
see
directions.
is one of our supervisors at the top of our headquarters, which is above the dunes for us, and just looking at us and like giving us the turnaround signal. So we put the mule in 2-wheel drives, skirt all like just basically 180 around on the beach, find where people are going. Our captain was already on the quad going, so we saw where he was going to the rescue. he sees us and
You know,
just,
when shit's going down when the captain's
and the
on
captain's
scene.
there,
Yep.
and he sees us and just says go. And all three of us, I guess, grabbed cans and just jumped in.
Ice in your veins.
Cold. Yeah, I don't know how
Yeah,
cold it was,
yeah.
but I remember
It was cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple things about, a rescue like that. What's interesting is that, we watch everything from the towers. Like when you're sitting there, I mean, when Niko says he's, maybe for lunch by himself, but nobody's ever by themselves. I mean, we sit up there on the headquarters, we have binoculars, and there's usually 2 officers, and we try to oversee everything. That's why with this thing, the captain knew right off the bat, he was probably sort of evolving. And the other thing is that you guys, are really respond real well. And the third thing here is that, these people, when they don't listen, the police will come down and you'll be issued tickets, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's probably good for them. Just like when you get pulled over doing 100 miles an hour on a parkway, you get a ticket and you're like, oh, but you know what?
I don't know.
It'll save your life.
If a $500 ticket's going to teach
Well,
me a lesson.
no,
for
well,
for
you know what?
bringing a
You know what,
couple
though?
White Claws down to the beach.
Well, but if you're going, but if you went there and we weren't there and you go out and you're drunk, you could be dead. So maybe you'll think twice before you do it again. Maybe ponder the thought that, hey, maybe this is not a smart idea. Anyway, that's just my take on it. So Niko, so that was great. So so you've been on Seaside Heights Beach Patrol for how long now?
3 years.
3 years.
This summer will be my 4th summer. Hopefully.
Okay. So, and you've seen a lot of action because, these past, like this summer was pretty rough.
This was a busy summer.
Right after July. Where'd you sit mostly? Some July? Because I remember after July, going to the end of July, beginning to the end, it was pretty rough. Actually, the whole summer. But do you remember anything in those days? Because that was some big ocean.
Yeah, I was always on North End the whole summer. I think I sat South End a couple of times, but
I don't work with you. I'm the South. Yeah, I'm the South. Yeah, so I don't know.
South End. We're South End guys.
No, I like North End.
Stop it. You guys are terrible.
Oh, we go on rescues and get drunk people out of the water.
Yeah.
We are crowd control specialists on the North End, and we are very nice to our patrons. We get to know them. It's more of an experience coming to the North End.
We have a lot of locals on the North End.
A lot of locals, and they all love us.
Yeah. So, well, that's an amazing story that you did all these things, and here's a good question for you. What do you don't have to answer this one, but where's your heart? What do you the fire department? Or I know it's the same because you're making rescues.
Automotive repair?
Or the lifeguarding. Like where?
What do you mean? Which one do
I
I
don't know. Which one do you prefer? Like what really gets?
Niko, list all of your jobs because Niko,
make
Niko
sure
does a lot.
Make sure you plug Niko Surf Repair.
So what do you do? So tell us what you do. Yeah, so that's a great idea.
Right now I'm only working at the mechanic shop, Tool Time Auto, but
Shout out Tool Time.
A year or two ago, I had 3 jobs at once. It was crazy. I was working at another auto shop. I was lifeguarding and delivering pizza, but those days are past.
But I like slinging dough
and doing the fire department rescue.
Fire department, yeah, yep.
But you live in town, so you got
Seaside,
that's good. Yeah, that's amazing.
So, I heard. Did you get a notification today?
For the call? Yeah, I got 2.
What was that? I was like working at home and I heard the siren.
They were just both fire alarm calls. Just nothing serious.
Niko takes it seriously, but he has an app on his phone that alerts him of calls that happen for the fire department, and he is beyond giddy when he sees that there's a call ready to go, or he hears the siren. He's already grabbing his phone before the app goes off.
It's the members of the fire department. They have the app. Civilians can't. Well, not civilians. I'm a civilian, but I'm saying people who aren't part of the fire departments can't have that app. Well, they can download the app, but you got to sign in to the fire department has their own.
Well, that's what Timmy, who's the Timmy Harmon.
That's I was thinking if it's the same app or some kind of similar.
They have it up in the northern beaches. So Timmy Harmon was saying in Seagirt and I guess all those beaches up there, lifeguards are all on this program where they could get called, and they all meet somewhere or they meet at the spot. So I guess they have cans and everything, which is pretty interesting. We talked about it. We don't do that in Seaside because we have a fire department. So after hours is the fire department. But I think so that's a great app. But let me circle back one thing, because all these 2 times that you saved these people's lives, you were theoretically, you were potentially, or you were surfing. You were a surfer. You're a surfer turned lifeguard. And I think I know over my years of experience that surfers have made thousands and thousands of rescues. In fact, one of the reasons in Seaside, when we leave, it's the fire department, but by far, the surfers make a ton of rescues. So my question, to all these surfers out there are, I don't know if they don't admit it, but they're more lifeguards than some of the lifeguards are, and I think that there are brothers and sisters in that regard. They're true lifeguards because they make a lot of rescues.
Yeah, and they're true watermen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Especially the ones who do it year round, because being in the ocean in January during a blizzard and big winter swell
that's different.
It's different.
Brain
Yeah.
freeze.
Yeah.
So they have more experience in the ocean than a lot of the summertime lifeguards who just come down. They do May through June.
That's what's funny. I feel like, and I could be one of those guys that the surfers look at that way, is I feel like a lot of like the local like hardcore surfers might look at lifeguards as like kooks a little bit.
Oh yeah,
because it's like
they do.
It's like these
They
rich
do.
ass Seaside Park college kids that come down for the summer and then they just stay in their family's beach house and lifeguard.
Yeah.
But they don't know the ocean like these surfers.
Yeah, well,
a lot of the surfers that I know.
No offense to rich ass Seaside Park, but I'm not assuming that you guys are all rich. That was a stupid statement.
No, a lot of the surfers I know who are locals in Seaside aren't particularly fans of the lifeguards because of that reason.
I've had my fair share of verbal altercations with surfers.
Yeah,
but I respect them. I just, sometimes you got to drop your ego and move out of the swimming section.
Yeah.
Well, I think that my point was that I hope surfers listen to our channel, because I think they could call us up and we would love to hear from them, and they could tell us their stories about, just like the rescues they made, because we would love to hear that. And on that note, I want people who are listening to us on YouTube to subscribe, and that will help us out a lot.
Yes.
And for our people who are on the podcast, we're on Spotify and we're on Apple Podcast. Go and look at our YouTube video. You could see what we saw, and we have some visuals there. And we also are on Facebook and Twitter and Twitch, and we'd love to hear from you. Can you do me one favor? You got the Instagram. Can you throw up our email address while we're?
Yeah.
So the email address here is Dr. Kachmar at iCloud.com. So that's Dr. Kachmar.
I'm gonna make an edit of all the times you've said Dr. Kachmar on this show.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's because this is this is Lifeguards with Duty with Dr. Michael Kachmar, board certified reconstructive foot and ankle surgeon, doctor of podiatric medicine.
That's gonna be the intro.
Operating at multiple hospitals in the Jersey Shore. It's the funny thing. My practice is so busy, and one of the reasons why we're so busy is because of these shows we do. People go on the internet looking for, foot and ankle surgeon, a specialist in lower extremity. And because we're on so many platforms, we come up. So, that's one of the reasons why we do this too, we have a medical show too. It's Scrubbing Up with Dr. Michael Kachmar, which is on Fridays, and people listen to that. So, but we also have a webpage. Can you put my webpage up, Sean, for me? And the webpage is Jersey Shore Foot and Leg Center.com, Jersey Shore Foot and Leg Center.com. You could hit that. You could learn about us. You could communicate with us. You could contact us, especially if you want to make an appointment. Do we want to pack it in, guys?
Do you guys mind if I make a little short story recommendation before we get? I did some reading today.
Sacred mushroom and the cross right there.
Sure.
No. That was my reading yesterday. So I probably mentioned this before, but I am a Bachelor of English, graduated from Kane University. So I had the pleasure of, coming across a wide variety of genres and themes and eras. And one of my favorites has always been the naturalism movement. Are you familiar with the naturalism movement?
No, but unfortunately, no, I'm not. And I don't know if I want to be, but I guess I'm going to be. Yeah. Right, Sean? Sean and I like, oh, here we go. No. Well, okay, so tell me what the national is. This going?
Here's the thing. And here is why I appreciate the naturalism movement so much, which took place between roughly the 1850s and the 1930s. Okay. It came as kind of a reaction to the Romantic movement, which was the early 1800s, where you had a lot of writers just like
dramatized.
Exactly. Yeah. Sean, you're familiar. You've taken American literature, so you're familiar with all this stuff. I like it so much because it kind of vibes with the way that I view the ocean through this kind of mystical lens. And I think a lot of watermen and ocean people and lifeguards see the ocean that way.
Well, it is.
Would you guys
Well,
agree
what's
with me on that?
what's
I wouldn't disagree,
naturalism?
just
But let's
it
tell
is
me. So
mad.
explain to our audience who don't like me. I don't know what. So tell me what naturalism means and what is it? So what's the premise of it?
So basically, it's an extension of realism, right? And so say a piece of literature that falls under realism would be something that pits man against man. There's no supernatural kind of force playing into effect. Naturalism is an extension of that, in where it puts man versus nature. But what's interesting about it is nature always wins,
And everything is nature.
and everything is nature. Thank you, Sean.
Okay, good.
So here's my point. This is
Okay.
the recommendation I want to recommend that every lifeguard or waterman or anyone who just appreciates the ocean reads The Open Boat by Stephen Crane.
Open Boat by Stephen Crane.
Yeah, it's written in 1897. So quick, what I want to do here, and we can wrap it up because I know I'm kind of
No, I like it. I actually know this short story. I like it.
It's pretty awesome,
it's
right?
very good.
And I'm kind of geeking out right now, and this might bore people, but it's important to me, so you guys are gonna listen. But I'm gonna read something from Spark Notes real quick, and then I want to read a quick excerpt from the book, and then you guys can tell me to shut the hell up.
All right.
Okay, then we'll
all right,
sign off.
So
Go ahead.
The Open Boat, written in 1897, evolved from Crane, Stephen Crane, the author. Crane's real life experience of being stranded in a dinghy in the Atlantic Ocean on December 31st, 1896. Crane sailed out of Jacksonville, Florida, bound for Cuba to cover the emerging war as a correspondent. This would have been the Cuban War of Independence, which took place between like 1885 and 1889. His ship sank in the morning of January 2nd, and Crane and 3 crew members spent 30 hours in a dinghy before coming ashore near Daytona Beach. Crane immediately wrote Stephen Crane's own story, a newspaper account of the sinking, but he shied away from further telling of this experience, writing only that, quote, the history of life in an open boat for 30 hours would no doubt be instructive for the young. So yeah, pretty cool story. So basically what this story is after he made that statement, after he wrote that article, he went on to write the story, The Open Boat. And it's a pretty accurate retelling of what he went through, except using this kind of naturalism theme. So it was him, an oiler. So Crane is the correspondent in the story. The story follows a correspondent, an injured captain, an oiler, and a cook as they row this boat up and down massive, huge, frothing waves trying to make it to shore. And what's interesting, actually, is there's a point in the first chapter, I'll let you guys read it for yourselves, that mentions a life-saving station.
Yeah.
This was the 1890s. And there was it was an argument between, I believe, the oiler and the cook deciding or trying to figure out whether it was a life-saving station or a refugee hut was what they were calling it, and whether the refugee hut would have had actual lifesavers in it. So anyway, like, long story short, they eventually get the boat to shore. Read the story to find out. But I want to read this section because just the description of the ocean, I think, is just amazing. It says, a seat in his book was not unlike a seat in his boat. Now, this is the captain's dinghy. A seat in his boat was not unlike a seat upon a bucking bronco. And by the same token, a bronco is not much smaller. The craft pranced and reared and plunged like an animal. As each wave came and she rose for it, she seemed like a horse making at a fence outrageously high. The manner of her scramble over these walls of water is a mystic thing. And, moreover, at the top of them were ordinarily these problems in whitewater, the foam racing down from the summit of each wave, requiring a new leap and a leap from the air. Then, after scornfully bumping a crest, she would slide and race and splash down a long incline and arrive bobbing and nodding in front of the next menace. I don't know. I just thought that was awesome.
It was good.
And
it was good.
I just like he used the word mystic. I think a lot of us think of the ocean that way.
Yeah. When I'm out there and you're past the break and it's big surf, I think it always looks like hills rolling, like legitimately moving mountains. or just
Right,
not
right.
mountains, at least not East Coast. But
Yeah. If you look at, I'm sorry, Sean, you should.
yeah, I wanted to ask Niko, what do you think when you're not and you're looking for a wave or you're out there? Like, what do you see?
Well, I'm just looking for the waves that are coming in. I mean, you
Yeah,
see
I
them
see.
come in, and they're kind of beautiful,
Right.
honestly. I mean, sometimes they could be scary though.
Yeah.
There's definitely
It's-
been times where I've been surfing and I've been scared.
Yeah.
We've all been like that.
Yeah.
It can be spiritual too, though.
right. If you,
Yeah, it is.
and that's what's cool about you know, and why I brought up this naturalism movement, because it manages, you know, where you had romanticism trying to come up with fantastic and new and interesting ideas, you had realism and naturalism taking just what is right in front of you and
Right.
saying basically, this is magic.
Right.
This wave right here is magic.
Oh,
You
yeah,
don't need
yeah.
to make stuff up in your head.
No, I understand that. And that's why I say to my granddaughter, instead of watching the damn TV and these video games, get out in nature, see what really, when I take her clamming, we're, catching clams and then we eat them, we're she's riding waves. Yeah. But if you want another, you just that when you read that to me, it reminded me, we were actually just talking about it this morning, Shackleton. And Shackleton, I don't know if you're familiar with Shackleton.
Mm-hmm.
Shackleton is an unbelievable story and very similar. He was shipwrecked. They were shipwrecked in Alaska, and it was an expedition. And then they had a row, and I mean, it's an amazing. The book is amazing. There's a movie. There's a documentary. It's called Shackleton. I mean, it's like really unbelievable. You can't believe what they did. And getting back to the waves, how they look, Sean. When you said if you go down to Florida. The Gulf Streams, if you're in like Miami, if you look at the Gulf Stream, and when there's a northeast, a north swell, a north wind coming, and the Gulf Stream is going, from south to north, it looks like they call it elephants. It actually looks like squares out there. It almost looks like a group of elephants. You ever hear that expression? And
I know the hills like white elephants. But not a similar reference.
Yeah. Well, the hills of, but they you talk to the lifeguards down there. I mean, you could see it. It looks like and we've seen days when it's rough and you look at the horizon and it really plays amazing things. But getting back to what you're saying is about the realism. As I see what's happening in our world, and too many of us are going towards the what did Facebook just come out with? They were calling
Metaverse.
Which is diving into this digital universe, which to me is the stupidest thing ever, because just what you said.
I would disagree with you on that.
Well, I think why? We just said you like naturalism, so
yeah, but that doesn't mean that I'm not like a forward-thinking person.
Oh,
you think the meta is forward-thinking?
No.
Oh, big time.
All right. Well, you sit home.
Imagine we're doing this podcast. And you could just put a camera right there where anyone could hop into the metaverse and sit at this table with us.
Right.
And it doesn't even have to be a guest. It could just be a listener.
Or
Niko,
do that, or sail a boat, a 50-foot catamaran.
We could sell your Lifeguard of the Year plaque as an NFT, Kachmar.
All right. Well, listen, we could go. We'll have another show on this.
Yeah, we'll probably talk about this.
Yeah, I'm getting tired. So listen, Niko, thank you very much for coming here.
Thank you for having me.
We'd like to have you back on to talk about more about the Ocean Rescue Fire Department, because I don't think we got into that enough.
Right.
Definitely have some saves in there, I could tell.
So listen, just throwing it out from my perspective, this is why one of the reasons why I do what I do. So I get to meet people like you. I hopefully as you're growing in your marching towards manhood, I could do some on the beach, direct you in certain ways. I do have some value and that's what gets me going. And to see you guys, mature and achieve and do good. You're doing good. There's so many people doing bad. Here you are, doing good and a lot of it. So it's very, very, it's so impressive for our young generation. And I tell you, when people say, oh, the young kids are going right here. Here's a young kid who's not going, you here. I don't know about that here. Good. Pretty good. Anyway, I'm going to sign all you guys are great.
I'm going to be a supervisor.
No, listen,
Niko, you do the,
okay.
You've made rescue surfing. You do this, you volunteer life and limb to do the ocean rescue. You're a great lifeguard. Thank you for doing that. We need more people like you. You're the little
I learned
homie.
lifeguarding from you.
I
Yeah.
tried.
From all you guys.
I tried.
Well,
we tried our best.
Well, that's why you're so good, because you learn. You're smart enough to learn from people around you, and that's because people, you make mistakes, and the ones who are really going to be successful is learn from their mistakes, and they humble themselves and they learn from other people. So anyway, listen, let's sign off. So Niko, we're gonna say goodbye soon, right?
Yeah.
Let me get the music going here. So why is my music?
Any
There we go.
more plugs, Doc?
So, well, again, this is Dr. Michael Kachmar. This is Lifeguards Off Duty with Dr. Michael Kachmar. We have this is a live video podcast. We have this every week, Tuesday. We're on Spotify. We're on podcast, Apple Podcasts. So listen to us there. Watch our YouTube video. Subscribe. We need you to subscribe to help us out. If you want to contact us, it's drkachmar@icloud.com. Jersey Shore Foot and Leg Center.com. And what's the Instagram? What's the other one, Sean?
The Instagram is lg.association.
Yeah, so hit it up there. And
When we get 100 subscribers, I will give you a podcast. I will give one listener a podcast used whistle.
okay, without
yeah.
the key though, without the key.
No,
Okay.
you won't have the key, even though
No,
you can
okay.
buy this at Home Depot.
All right, so Niko, so what we do, we have a tradition here, and for people who don't know Seaside Heights, we have, we and when we sign out, when we on the speakers, we clear the beach, we get people out of water, and we have a saying on our beach when we're leaving the beach. You know what that saying is?
Clear the water.
No.
Stay out, stay alive.
Stay out, stay alive. So you're gonna say it. So ready? So we're gonna. So
Thank
again,
you for coming to Seaside Heights. I forgot it.
just say it again.
Stay out, stay alive.
Stay out, stay alive. Just say it one more time so we get
Stay
it.
out and stay alive.
All right, everyone.
I can't wait for someone to put some real mustard on it.
All right, everyone.
Stay alive.
Thank you very much. Take care. Good night. Bye bye.